Hello and welcome back everyone. So let's talk about network attacks. Once you log in to BitNinja's dashboard using your account, you will be greeted by this screen, which is the server screen as we like to call it. You will be seeing the incidents panel, the input and news section, and your servers. Today we will focus on the incidents part. So you will see a few numbers here and a few little pretty charts, and you can click through them. But let's cover what they mean. So in the all IP incidents, which is our first number, right now it's 81, the all IP incidents will cover everything that has happened to the server on the IP level. So every port honeypot catches, every web application firewall, every CAPTCHA fill-outs or delistings, it will be covered here. The next number, which is 11 right now, is the malware catches, and what they do is it will show you the number of how many malwares have been caught on the machine. And it's not only for a single machine, it's for every machine in the group that you're checking. So once we go to the course, you will see a different number. If we go to the uncategorized, you will also see a different number. But if we go here, you will see all of them combined. So port honeypot catches are directly only covering the port honeypots. So you can see it's 4 because we have been testing this, but this is what this covers. Web application firewall alerts will let you know if somebody has been caught by the web application firewall. So if anybody has triggered the web application firewall rules. In the module activity, you can see in a chart what happened and when it happened, and so you can click through them. You can see we had not have any DOS detection so far, log analysis, IP reputation, defense report, because of course this is just a test machine which is not running at all times. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper into what all these IP incidents are, you can do that by simply going to the network attacks on the top. And you will be greeted by this screen. Let's just quickly close this. So, and this too, so you have the full vision of this. So, you see you can filter stuff, but let's not get ahead of us. First, let's see what we have on this screen. As you will see in a few different parts of the series, I've already checked these and I have shown you, but I have never really explained what they are. So in BitNinja, how these work is we have an incident system. So let's say an IP address gets on to your gray list. Every time that this IP gets presented with a CAPTCHA afterwards, they will be generating an incident for you if they do not fill it out. If they fill it out, you will see that they have the web honeypot CAPTCHA success instead of an incident. But if they don't, it will be an incident generated. So if you talk about all incidents at once, it's a possibility that some of them are not malicious by default. Some of them could be somebody not filling out the CAPTCHA, or some of them could be a bot not filling out the CAPTCHA, but most of the times they are malicious. So let's see how we can filter between these incidents, and then let's see what these incidents really mean. So you have a few filtering options. Firstly, you can filter by IP address. So let's just see, we want to filter for this IP address, and let's click on search. And you'll be able to see that any time this IP address pops up in any of the logs, we will be able to check it. An alternative type is checking by the incident types, which is a bit confusing at first, but I will explain it later what these incidents mean. So let's move on to the servers. You also have the option to filter by servers, and all you have to do is simply just click on the server you want to try and filter by, or you can also start typing and you will see that this is the only server that matches this. So let's just add this as a search term, and you will be able to see every incident that that server has generated for you. Let's close this. You can also choose a date range. Right now it's from August 11th until September 10th, but you can change this to however you wish. Let's say from the August 1st to August 31st, and let's just search, and you can see every incident that has happened in that time zone. Also, you can filter by countries, which is an interesting one. You can look for any IP's public page, and you will be able to see which country they came from. Or if you just want to be sure that, let's say, United States. Let's see if we had any incidents from the USA, and we do. So these IPs, the attacking IPs, of course, came from the United States of America. So this is how you can filter by countries. And in tough decisions, you can also decide to blacklist them within the firewall settings. So moving on to the incident types, you will see a little question mark next to them. And if you click on this, you'll be able to see all of the incidents that BitNinja has. But let's cover the most common ones, because some of these will be rarely appearing, but let's cover. So firstly, the web honeypot bad URL, which is our honey farm received a request from an IP address in question. The request can be malicious but harmless as well. The IP address got graylisted by BitNinja. Usually you will see many of this web honeypot incidents because of the bad URL, because it tried to access some URL that they shouldn't have, or they just simply didn't fill out the CAPTCHA. Also, the CAPTCHA fail will appear when an IP address tries to fill out the CAPTCHA, but it fails to do that. So you will be able to see this icon next to it. The SMTP CAPTCHA fail is the same, but it means that they have failed to fill out the SMTP CAPTCHA instead of the normal one. The web honeypot DList bad URL is pretty similar to the normal bad URL, but let's see what it says. So a visitor, human or robot, reached our honeypot and sent a request despite of the fact we presented a CAPTCHA with detailed explanation why she needs to fill out the CAPTCHA. The request is from a non-human with a high probability. So this will be most likely the most common incident you are seeing on your account, besides the port honeypot catches, which we'll cover later. But this is pretty common to see on your machines, so prepare to see this icon a lot. DOS detection, I think it speaks for itself. If you have a DOS attack or a DOS incident, it will look like this, and it will show up like that. So the spam, which is a spam email, have arrived from this IP to the BitNinja server security spam trap. BitNinja has spam traps, which is a email address baked in somewhere into the CAPTCHA page that bots and crawlers can find. And if they try to send an email to this address with an IP, then they will be blocked instantly, and they know that they are a crawler at that point. We also have an incident type for CNC. So this IP belongs to a crypto PHP command and control server. So this is very rare to see this, but sometimes this will pop up, depending if you had a malware infection previously installing BitNinja. This could be an incident that pops up. The web honeypot is basically the direct result of a web honeypot attack. So if you have web honeypot traps placed on your machine, then this is the type of incident you will see if somebody has tried to reach that file and send some information to it. Be an external blacklist, IP arrived from a well-known external blacklist. It speaks for itself. It's very rare to see this in real world, but sometimes it happens, depending on the IP address and whatnot. BL operator, the IP address was manually graylisted by a BitNinja operator. You can ask for more information about this incident via our support. This means that our support guys have blacklisted or graylisted. I mean, in this case, it's only graylisted, but they have graylisted an IP address, and they did it for a reason. It's very rare to see this as well. You will see more of them to remove IPs rather than add them, but this is also a possibility. Web application firewall incidents. This is also something you will see if you have web application firewall enabled on your machine, and it's an indication that somebody has tried to get into your machine and they have triggered a web application firewall rule. And so, as the description says, the BitNinja web application firewall have intercepted a malicious connection, protecting the server and web applications against an attack. Defense robot. This happens if defense robot finds a correlated malware upload from an IP address after quarantining the malware. So you will see this when somebody has tried to infect your machine, but BitNinja's malware detection instantly caught the malware and then got the IP address graylisted as well. SMTP CAPTCHA invalid hash is visitor, human or robot was trying to reach the CAPTCHA resolver page using an incorrect or expired hash. This happens sometimes if your machine have sent out an SMTP CAPTCHA for somebody and they either didn't open it soon enough or didn't try to validate it soon enough. But it's very rare to see this, but sometimes it happens. The SMTP request attempt is a graylisted IP address was trying to send a mail to your server, but BitNinja intercepted this communication and rejected the mail. The mail sender will be informed about this failure by the remote mail server, as BitNinja rejected the connection with a 501 error code and explanation about the incident. The error message also contains proper information for the sender on how to remove the mail gateway from the gray list. This means that a graylisted IP address just tried to send your machine a mail, and they have been just seeing the message, hey, you're graylisted, please follow this link to delist yourself. And the next one is the port honeypot bad port. This is, I think, the most common incident type that you will find if you install BitNinja. This means that an IP address tried to connect to one of the ports honeypotted by port honeypot, so they have been trapped by it. So BitNinja automatically set up honeypot ports on your machine, and this incident was generated when a malicious party connected to one of these honeypot services. You can see what traffic the attacker generated in plain text in the message field. BLB and log, which is the result of a log analysis. It means that BitNinja has detected some suspicious activities among server logs. So somebody has tried to brute force into your WordPress account, or brute force into SSH or whatnot. You will see this here. BLB and cloud protection, IP address added to the blacklist. It's basically if from the cloud protection an IP address gets added to the blacklist, then it will be showing up like this. And the cloud protection whitelist is the same, but with the whitelist. FTP Upload Attempt. By the way, these two ones are pretty rare to see, but you might see them sometimes. FTP Upload Attempt. Someone or a bot from a graylisted IP connected to a fake FTP server presented by the FTP CAPTCHA module and then tried to upload a file. This is what happens when they try to upload something to the FTP CAPTCHA module. So basically they are just thinking that's a real FTP server, but in reality that's just a fake service. And we accept the upload and then mark it as malware, and then also block that IP address from accessing your machine again. IP auto remove. This is just IP address has been automatically removed from the gray list because of a long time no incidents. It means that BitNinja automatically removes some gray listed IP addresses in order to resolve conflicts in terms of how long an IP address stays on, and if somebody gets a new IP address from a provider. So this is how we deal with it. Dynamic IP address auto remove is the same, but with dynamic IP addresses. And then you can see that the user version is the IP address removed from the gray list by a BitNinja user. It means that the IP address has been removed with by another BitNinja user from the gray list. Web DNS is IP addresses auto delisted based on reverse DNS informations. This means that if BitNinja has some supported reverse DNS providers, so if they resolve to something we acknowledge as a good bot, or if they are good well-known providers, then we will delist their IP addresses automatically if they somehow end up there. SMTP captcha success is basically a successful captcha delisting via SMTP. BN cloud protection is IP address removed from blacklist. It's roughly the same or the equivalent of the first cloud protection, but this will get removed, not added. Cloud protection whitelist means that it got removed from the whitelist automatically, and the last few mean that they have been delisted from your gray list, either from your gray list or the global gray list, because of either they have filled out a captcha successfully, so this means the HTTP captcha, or they have been delisted via geo IP data. Either the operator, so one of our support team members have delisted it, the cron delist, which means that they have been expired from the gray list, so they are removed, and also you can see the browser entity check success, so it's almost the same as the honeypot captcha, but of course it didn't have to fill out the captcha for it to be delisted. So now that we have covered how they look and what you should look out for, we can check a few incidents. So you can see that a few machines have tried to, let's just add the bigger events. Yes, from August until 31st, or make it from the 1st until the 10th, so we can have some new data. So you will see there are a few different types of incidents here. First off, this is the web honeypot. As you can see, this is the direct result of a web honeypot. You can see that once you open it down, you will see a few fields. First off, you will see the date when this happened and when BitNinja caught it. You will see which server this incident was generated on, and you can also click on this, and then it will filter for this machine. You can also see which domain was attacked. Right now this is an IP address because on the test machine we are not running a domain, so to say, but we are running an IP address directly. So in case you're running a, I don't know, testdomain.com on your machine, this would show up here instead of this IP address. You can also see the attacker's IP address, which was 3.3.3.8 in this case. But of course in a real world scenario it will look more like a real IP address, not just a private one. And the severity label is unknown. This severity label will sometimes pop up and tell you how severe this incident was. And you can see with this incident it's the lowest, but this one is unknown because BitNinja has no information about what they tried to do besides just sending some data. So moving on to the message field, which is this gray box here, you can see which URL the attacker have tried to go to when the incident happened. So you can see this URL was 3.3.3.7/wp-decoy/honeypot.php. And the file was, of course, the honeypot.php file that we have set up. And we can see that the post data has been an array which contained a uname, a password, and a remember. So you can see that the uname's value in this array was coarse, when the password was weak password, and the remember was toggled on because we have toggled it on. And afterwards, you will see a captcha success because we have successfully filled out a captcha. You can see where did we come from. So you can see which URL. You can see the same information. And in the message box, you will see it's a little bit larger. So you can see which URL we came from and where did we fill out the CAPTCHA, who was the host, connections, stuff, and some user agent information, and basically cookie and stuff like this. But most of this, in terms of the CAPTCHA delisting, it's pretty okay. You don't have to analyze this because this doesn't mean anything bad. So let's see what happens when a port honeypot hit is getting caught. So in this case, you can see that the date is the same, victim server same, and the attacker IP is the same, but notice you will not see a domain because of course this was a port honeypot hit. And you can also see that severity label is the lowest. So it's the lowest possible severity. So this means it wasn't that bad of an attack, but still it was an unwanted connection. So understanding what these mean is we have tried to connect from the IP address of 3.3.3.4 to the IP address of 3.3.3.7 onto port 23. So the first IP is always the attacking IP address, and the second IP address is always the victim machine. So in this case, this is your BitNinja server, and this is the attacker's IP address. And once we figure this out, we can see what they have sent, because the messages, which is still an array, and we can see that I have sent via telnet the ls-lah, and then 11:35 I have sent the cd boot, 11:35 I have also sent the this is unrestricted, and that I'm a baddie. So afterwards, BitNinja closed connections, so there's no more messages, but sometimes you will see some nasty stuff here, like getting to the busy box and sending some comments for it. So you will see I have also tried to get to the cd var www or etc password. So you can see that we are logging every connection and message that they have sent to the port honeypot caches, and we will also look into some verification firewall hits when we get to that point.